It's strangely compelling, isn't it? To step through there and lose oneself in another world. So says Captain James T. Kirk in one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek, The City on the Edge of Forever, where Kirk and crew encounter a time portal called the Guardian of Forever. Hey friends, Barkey J. Dog here, back with another movie review, and this time I have a classic sci-fi picture for you that sports just such a time portal. So this time we're talking about The Time Travelers from 1964. Our story goes like this. Our heroes are working on a secret project at a university to create a time viewer. Their hope is to see into the distant past or the distant future, but they've been stuck for a while. The team consists of their lead scientist, Dr. Von Steiner. You could tell he's a scientist because he has a beard and a monocle. And then there's Steve Connors, his assistant, who pretty much makes all the decisions because he's the macho hero. They have technician Carol White, who wants to be Steve's assistant, if you know what I mean. And finally, this electronics guy who works for the university named Danny. One day, word comes down that the project will be canceled unless they can get results, so they push their equipment right to the edge. Now this causes near disaster as circuits overload and fuse, setting off some sparklers. But this also has the fortunate effect of making this gadget work. And then Danny also discovers that this is not just a view screen showing the far future, but has become a doorway, a portal into another time. And being dumb, he steps through it. Now the others, inspired by Mr. Dumbass here, one by one chase after him because the portal is unstable and could collapse at any minute, stranding their electronic dumbass on the other side. And it does. Now all our heroes are trapped. That's not going to look very good on this guy's performance evaluation, now is it? Well, because it's the future, right away they get chased by some mutants until they wind up under the protection of advanced humans who have super science and androids on their side. The head honcho explains that a nuclear war wiped out civilization 100 years ago, all except for their little colony. And now the mutos want to destroy the normos for their food and supplies. But the normos have a plan. Because the whole planet's irradiated, they can't stay there. So they're building a rocket ship to carry them to Alpha Centauri, where they've identified an Earth-like planet. They have to launch in 30 days and have no way to take these extra 4 people with them. So all our heroes can do is try to rebuild their time portal and hopefully return to their own time and maybe even stop the destruction of mankind. And the mutos are on the prowl, ready to break in and kill the normos before liftoff. Can our heroes rebuild the time portal in time? Can the normos finish their ship and escape? And will Danny win over this sexy chick after she gives him the eye? In our cast, we have a few name brands. Our lead scientist is played by Preston Foster, a very familiar face in old Hollywood. He was in lots of stuff, such as Annie Oakley, The Harvey Girls, and Kansas City Confidential. We last saw him in Law and Order, which I've reviewed elsewhere on the channel. His turn in The Time Travelers was one of his last roles. Philip Carey plays Steve, again another familiar face. He was in Calamity Jane, Mr. Roberts, I Was a Communist for the FBI, and the TV series Laredo. Mary Anders plays Carol. She starred in Tickle Me with Elvis, Airport, and played Belle Starr in Young Jesse James. Dennis Patrick from Dark Shadows is here as Willard, one of the normos. He appeared in The Missiles of October, Night Games, and he played Vaughn Leland on Dallas. He was also in 1989's Chances Are with Robert Downey Jr. Our dopey electronics guy was played by Steve Franken. Franken did lots of stuff. Among many other things, he was in Westworld and The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. He later voiced a lot of cartoons and video games. And his love interest, Rena, was played by Dolores Wells. She was a Playboy bunny and was Playmate of the Month in 1960. She also was in 3 of the Beach Party movies. And then there was this guy, Peter Strudwick. He was born without feet and full hands. He played a half-mutant in the movie, Befriended by Our Heroes. This was his only movie role. Strudwick went on to become a marathon runner, and later wrote a book about his life. Finally, we have longtime character actor John Hoyt as the leader of the Normos. I always think of him as Dr. Boyce on Star Trek. Ironically, we see him operating a device here, not unlike the transporter on Star Trek, which they ironically call the transporter. One cool thing throughout the picture is that they show magic, that is, stage magic, to pass for the super science. And that right there is a cameo by Forrest J. Ackerman, by the way, who we last saw in my review of Queen of Blood. The LA Lakers, that's right, the Lakers, stand in for the Mutos in the picture. Melchior wrote and directed The Time Travelers. Primarily a screenwriter, Melchior penned such genre works as Journey to the Seventh Planet, Planet of the Vampires, Reptilicus, The Angry Red Planet, and Robinson Crusoe on Mars. Although he was never able to prove it, his Space Family Robinson story was the likely inspiration for what became Lost in Space. The Time Travelers did not end with this movie. No, the script was recycled for another movie in 1967 called Time Warp, or by the more widely known name Journey to the Center of Time. In this one, instead of creating a time screen, the time project is taking place in a sphere-shaped laboratory. That's what does the time traveling, somehow. Scott Brady plays a hard-nosed company executive who takes over after his father dies, and not being a visionary, he has no use for this project. If they can't get results, he says, he'll shut it down and convert it over to weapons manufacturing. So our heroes have to push the envelope and get their time viewer working, which leads to them traveling through time. Interestingly, they expand on the original story, taking our heroes into the distant past as well as the future. Aside from Brady, Anthony Isley plays the assistant in charge, and longtime character actor Abraham Sofer plays the lead scientist, Dr. Gordon. He has a Star Trek connection, too. He not only was the voice of the Melcott in Spectre of the Gun, but also the voice of the Thasian in Charlie X. The lady assistant is played by Gigi Perreault. She was in a lot of stuff, including The Man in the Gray Flannel Suit and Tammy Tell Me True. And another familiar face is here, Lyle Waggoner! That's right, Lyle Waggoner from The Carol Burnett Show and Wonder Woman. He's here as a future alien. Man, that makeup is awful, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. Even though the movie uses parts of the same script as The Time Travelers and even some rocket ship footage, unfortunately, this one isn't nearly as good. It looks pretty cheap and almost comes off as a TV pilot. It reminded me a lot of the Time Tunnel series by Irwin Allen. We have worried technicians trying to return the time travelers, just like we see in the Time Tunnel. And they even have a yellow logo on the floor of the main lab, just like Operation TikTok had. I like some of the cast, but yeah, this one is pretty forgettable. The Time Travelers, though, that's always captivated me. Just that idea of stepping through the screen. Like Captain Kirk said, there's just something about that, isn't there? There's humor in the movie, and Danny is the comic relief character, but none of that is too annoying. And the ending of the movie is very unusual, essentially giving the movie two endings. Kino Lorber has made a nice transfer of the movie to Blu-ray, and it's worth tracking down a copy. If you've never screened The Time Travelers, it's well worth giving this one a spin. So I'm giving The Time Travelers 2.5 paws up. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next watch.